All right. Just want to welcome everyone to the Sodexo Grant Competition Info Session. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Matt Schnarr, the Expansion and Partnerships Manager here for the Campus Kitchens project. First, just want to thank you so much for all the hard work you've already put into this effort in qualifying for this grant. We are super thrilled to get this video competition started next week, and I hope you guys are as well. So I do think it's awesome and great to foster a really healthy sense of competition, and we do want to remember that hopefully we will all be part of our CKP network very soon, which is very exciting regardless of the outcomes of the competition. So this webinar info session has a couple purposes. One is to make sure that everyone is really clear on how the competition will work next week. So we're going to go over all the logistics, the timeline, how to vote, pretty much everything else you need to know to be successful with that. The other really important part of this session will to help you prepare for really getting ready to get out that vote and make sure you're really utilizing all of the outlets to reach all your audiences. So for that portion, I'm going to bring in our resident social media and communications guru, Tyler Tripp, here in our office, and then we're going to hear from her in a little bit about that. So before we jump in, just want to take a moment to recognize our amazing sponsor of this grant competition, Sodexo Foundation. Their commitment to ending hunger across the country is something that is truly inspiring, and we are excited and really proud to be able to work with them again to provide these grants for you all. So with that, let's jump right into the basics. So as you probably know, the competition will begin when we post your videos onto our voting page Monday, May 2nd at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. You'll be able to start to view and vote for the videos at that time and at that time only. The competition will then run until the following Monday, the 9th, where voting will close at 12 noon Eastern Standard Time. The winners will also be announced that same day. So the main voting page where you're going to find the leaderboard, which we're going to take a look at in a second, as well as all the videos, is www.campuskitchens.org/Sodexo-2. So I'm going to send all this information out in an email today or tomorrow, so you'll have it, but know that that's the main voting page where you'll be able to send anyone to view your video, vote for your video, and see the current standings of the vote tallies. So we will also give you access to a personalized link that takes your voters straight to your video and your video alone. So you'll see there that that link will be campuskitchens.org/2016/4/ then your school's name, which again, I'll send out that link very soon this week. So that will take you, which I'll show you in a second, straight to just your video. It won't show, it will show your vote total, but not the leaderboard. But either of those links are great ones to use as you are reaching out to your potential voters, and either of them will be great to you'll be able to vote from either of those links for your videos. So let me just actually just go really quickly to just show what that page looks like, and so you can see that. And we'll go back here in a second, but this is the main leaderboard page, which you can see here. The leaderboard of schools, and below you'll have all of the videos. That when you refresh the page, the video lineup will change, so it's always in random order. And then if you click on the actual link of the video, it'll take you to a page that is specific to just your video, like I said. So we will talk about how to actually vote and go through that in real time in just one second, but just wanted to show you that page. Let me get back here. Great. All right. So another thing to challenge on some basics here, to remember that your video submission must be into us no later than this Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time to be able to participate in this competition. I know I've already talked with most of you about getting that in either on that time or before, but just a couple things to remember as you're wrapping that up is when you're actually going to submit the video to us, we're going to need the actual video file. So, you know, not the link to it on YouTube or not the link to it anywhere else, but the actual file of the raw video. And the easiest way to do that, oftentimes since those are pretty large files, is instead of trying to email us that, you can share it with our ckpnational@gmail.com Google Drive, or if you have a Dropbox or any other file sharing where you can get that to us in that way, that's typically the best way to do that. But if you have any questions, you can always reach out to me. We can figure out the way to get that over to us. All right, so let's talk about how to actually vote, and this is really important as you are reaching out to folks on campus and in the community, and really being able to explain how they can actually help and vote for your video. So there's only one way to vote, to have your vote count toward the leaderboard, and that is to click that gray and orange Vote Now button, which you're either going to see on the top or the bottom right of your video, depending on which page they're at. So you'll see here, this is the view you're going to have from the main leaderboard page where that Vote Now button is in the top right. And so that's the only way they're going to be able to vote for your video from that page. And if you send them your direct link just to your video, you'll see that same Vote Now button on the bottom right. So again, that is the only way you'll be able to have votes be submitted for your video. So let me just show what that looks like a little bit in real time again. So again, you're back here on the main voting page, and you'll see here, if we press this button right here, Vote Now, it says, thank you for your vote. It then registered that +1, and if we refresh the page, we should be able to see that in the leaderboard. So then you'll see that that one vote was then tallied in the leaderboard. If we try, and we'll talk about this in a second, but if you try to click on this again to vote, it's going to say you can vote after 1 day. So we'll talk about kind of what that means, but you'll note that it'll show that message if you've already voted for that day for that video. And that goes for the same for if you were on your personalized page, you would obviously still vote now by clicking that button right there, and it would register back onto that leaderboard as well. So let's talk a little bit about how not to vote, which I think is equally important. And this is good, again, to be giving this information to those that you're going to be wanting to vote for your video. So things to make sure are very clear is that we will not register a vote if someone likes this on Facebook or tweets it or shares it on Facebook. While those are all wonderful things to do, and you should encourage that, and Tyler's going to talk a little bit more about that in a moment, those do not register an actual vote. Same if someone clicks on the actual video that takes them to the YouTube video and then they like that YouTube video on YouTube, that's not going to give us a vote. So again, the only way to vote is by clicking that orange and gray Vote Now button. All right. So to go over just the basic voting rules. So the main thing you need to know as you promote your video is that our voting system limits 1 vote per person per IP address per day. So basically what that means is a person can vote from their same computer or device only once every 24 hours. So the only issue you might run into if you are trying to vote from a group of computers that maybe share one IP address, say maybe a computer lab or a library on campus, if one person votes from one computer and those are all tied to the same IP address, if someone else votes on another computer, it might tell them that they've already voted for the day. So we realize that's not ideal. That limitation is going to be the same for everyone participating. So the best way to kind of get around that, if you're running into that issue, is to encourage people to vote on their phone, on their iPad, on another device that's not connected to a group of computers. So again, I do want to reiterate that while this is a competition, we should all remember that at some point we're hopefully going to be a part of our network, and so any form of cheating will be grounds for disqualification. So you're prohibited from obtaining votes by any inappropriate means, including anything like offering prizes or other incentives to prospective voters. As we monitor the votes, votes received from any IP address in excess or more than 7 times will be void. So any use of any script or macro or any automated system to vote with the intent to impair the integrity of the voting process is strongly prohibited, and all those votes will be void. I don't think we're going to have any issues with that, but just want to make sure we're all clear and keep this as clean as possible. So before we move on to Tyler's portion, are there any questions specifically about the voting system, about that, the rules or the regulations, or how the actual voting works? Feel free to voice those or type those into the chat box if you have any of those questions. Great. All right, so and again, if there's other questions throughout, please just go ahead to voice those or type them in at any time. But right now, I'm actually going to send this over to Tyler to talk a little bit more about social media and outreach.
All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Tyler. I'm the Community Engagement Manager here at the Campus Kitchens project, and a lot of what I do is manage social media for CKP and for all of our campus kitchens across the country. So I'm here just to share some helpful tips so when you are all preparing for the competition, you're doing the best job you can, and so people can vote for your video. So what you see on the screen now are some images and sample social media posts. I'll be giving you custom images for each school and sample social media posts, which I'll hopefully be sending in the next couple days. The sample images will be like what you see in the bottom right corner up here on the screen, except they'll either have screenshots from your video or a picture. So if you think your video might be submitted late, you can go ahead and email Matt like a compelling group shot or another kind of fun picture, and I can use that instead. And again, also, if you would rather just have a photo, just get in contact with Matt and we can use either a picture or a screenshot of your video. So I'll also be sending some sample social media posts for Twitter and Facebook. I'll include your school's Twitter handle, a customized link to your video post, which Matt just went over, and the hashtag. So a little bit about posting on social media. Twitter and Facebook are really going to be your best outreach tools on social media. You can tweet at or tag people and pages on Facebook like school departments, clubs, organizations, faculty members, school sports teams, and even peers, and you can ask them to vote. As you can see in the examples up here on the page, I tagged Campus Kitchens in most of them, or all of them. And the more people you can tag and include in your tweet or Facebook post, the better, because the likelihood that I see it and tweet it or retweet it is very high, and the same thing for whoever else you tag. So hopefully if you're tagging your university, they'll see it and share it too, and it'll hopefully prompt them to tweet on their own about the competition. So just going a step above tagging people, if you specifically reach out in a tweet to someone or an organization or to someone and say, like, for example, hey, at university alums or at school student government, have you seen this yet? Make sure to vote once a day till May 9th. Click here to vote. It's just a great way to get out the word about the competition. It's also important to tag Sodexo on Twitter and Facebook so they can help promote your content as well. And this will all be in the sample social media that I send, but their Twitter is at Stop Hunger USA, and on Facebook they are the Sodexo Foundation Stop Hunger. But again, I'm going to send it all in the sample social media post, so you don't have to write it down right now, but it's just useful to know. And you don't have to tag everyone in every single tweet that you do. I know that kind of sounds like a lot, so if you're short on characters, don't feel like you have to include CKP and Sodexo and your school. I would say definitely always try and tag your school if possible, but then you can always alternate tagging CKP and then Sodexo in the next one. In your tweets and Facebook posts, you always want to include the link to vote. I recommend that you use the bit.ly link, like the ones that you see on the screen, because bit.ly is just a shortened link, so it takes up less space. You can link to the main Sodexo page, but you can also just link to the post that has your video on it. You do not want to link to your YouTube URL online because, as Matt said, no one can vote for your video that way. So you really want to set your viewers up for success and give them just a few easy steps like click on the link here, vote, and then share on social media. So you can also use this content on Instagram. I don't have anything like specifically for Instagram, but it can definitely be used there. Same with the photos that we send you. I would just say that since links don't hyperlink in a caption on a photo, just make sure to include it in your bio and then direct people to go to the bio to vote. So the hashtag that we use for the competition is LaunchCKP, and you can use it on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. It's a great way to see who all is posting about the competition and track what's being said. I'll definitely be watching the hashtag and helping to promote content through whatever I see through the hashtag. And just to let you guys know, I'll be sharing these images on Facebook and Twitter and including the link as well. And especially on Facebook, I like to share images in addition to like with a link, because as you might know, when you post a link on Facebook, it automatically generates an image. And sometimes I just think it's better to have something specific than that generic one, but that's totally up to you. And you can also use a different image if you don't like what generically pops up. So we can go over the social share buttons now, which are on each of the posts that we create. And Matt's going to demonstrate for us here. So here you can see that below the video we have a like, share, and tweet button. Those are the social share ones. So Matt, if you go ahead and click on tweet, you can see that an automatic message pops up for people who just voted that they can share and encourage everyone else to also vote. This text can be edited, but there really isn't a need to unless the person feels strongly about it. But you definitely want to encourage people to then share after they've voted. So that's for Twitter. And then for Facebook, the like and share, the like button just likes the page that has all the videos. And then the share button shares the video. So then Matt could type something if he wanted to and post it to Facebook. So again, it's just really great to encourage people to share after they vote, because it's just going to help keep getting the word out about the competition and encourage people to vote. And now on to the outreach. So some things that you can start doing now. We recommend that you get as many people involved in the competition and voting as you can. The more people that know about the competition, the more votes you'll get. So you can reach out to other clubs or organizations you're involved in on campus. Maybe you're in Greek life or involved in student government. It would be great if you could go to those meetings and make an announcement about the competition. I think it's a great first step to tap into your already existing network, so wherever you're already involved in. And that can even mean emailing friends and family, etc., and telling them about the competition and asking them to vote. Some other things you can do are reach out to your alumni network. Maybe there's a newsletter or email blast that goes out for the alumni department that you can include a little blurb about the competition, encouraging people to vote during these specific times. And here's the link, and then tell them to also share that they voted. Also, some schools have like a daily email to students or to faculty. Again, a great place to just add a little bit of information about the competition and encourage people to vote. And another thing that you can try doing is just passing along the sample social media posts that I send you, and in passing that along to organizations or anyone that you're asking to help get out the word, because it just makes it so much easier for them. And you can say, hey, would you mind sharing this competition? I even have some language that you can just post, and they're like, oh, great. So all they have to do is copy and paste and post it. Another thing you can do right now is to start trying to get your university to share about the competition. So if you haven't already, I would approach someone in your school's media department, and I'll be sending a press release template to everyone that you can customize, and then you can send to your school's media department. And so that's just, again, makes it easy for them if you already have something that you can give them and ask them to send out. I would also follow up and see if they can help get the word out by, like tweeting or posting on Facebook about the competition, or maybe even the school website, like on the homepage, or writing a blog post on the school's website or an article, anything like that, to just help get the word out and let people know the competition's going on so you can get more votes. And what to do when the competition starts. Again, like I said, you want to try and do some target social media and outreach to clubs, organizations, community members, really whoever you can think of, and just engage with as many people as you can and encourage people to vote and then share the content. You can go to classes and clubs and talk about the competition, and you could even ask people to vote right then and there on their phone. You can also table on campus to promote voting. Again, you can just ask people to pull out their phone, tell them what website to go to, and vote. So for the calendar for the competition, we're going to be featuring schools on the different days. So as you can see on that Monday, we'll just be featuring the entire competition on our social media channels. So just encouraging everyone to vote in general. And then the following Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, we'll be featuring a particular school where we'll only talk or feature that school. And when that's finalized, I'll make sure to email it out to everyone so people know when to be watching CKP's national social media channels, so that they can then retweet or share what we post, because it's just another great way to keep getting the word out. So just some reminders. Make sure to shout out Sodexo in your school, because Sodexo especially is very excited about the competition and they're going to want to share content. And I'll be sending sample social media posts, this PR template, and some graphics in the next couple days. And remember to take your audience directly to the post or the main Sodexo page that has your video so they can vote. You never want to take them to the YouTube URL. And definitely start getting ready for the competition now. It's great to start talking to other departments and organizations about getting them to promote your video. And you can just get that all lined up so you can get started right when the competition starts on the 2nd. So does anyone have any questions? You can go ahead and ask or type them in the chat box. All right.
Great. All right, thanks, Tyler. All right, so now let's talk a little bit more about the actual prizes and the actual grants. So I think you guys have probably all seen some of this already, but just so we're really clear on the same page, we're going to talk through the various installments of the grant if you are one of the top 3 winners. So like I said, there are these 3 grantees who will each receive $5,000 grants payable in 4 increments. So those obviously, the top 3 schools are the 3 with the most votes at the end of the week. The first installment, $1,500, you'll be able to receive once you officially sign our contract. And it should be a very simple process because you've already negotiated with administration through the contracts and signed the letter of intent. So this is just finalizing that contract and getting it countersigned by us, but that should be a fairly simple process. And that needs to happen within 1 month of the competition closing. Once you have that signed, we'll be able to send out the first installment, which we have earmarked for what we call a planning fellow. And basically what this is to be able to incentivize a student or students to finish out the rest of the planning on the Campus Kitchen Planner, and being able to have that student fellow as a key person to finishing out the rest of the logistics and planning of your Campus Kitchen. Now, for some schools, this is really great. For others, they may not necessarily need a planning fellow for various reasons. Perhaps they already have a really strong group of student leaders, or they might already have some other staff support that isn't necessary for that, or they might be really close to getting ready to already launch and they don't need that student to do quite as much. So in that case, this can be something we can talk through on an individual basis to see what would be best, how that money could be best used initially. So there is a little bit some flexibility there, but that could be something we can discuss with the winners when we after the fact. After that $1,500, the second installment of $800 is to be used specifically for purchasing necessary equipment, supplies, staple goods, aprons, pans, whatever that you may need in terms of supplies to get your Campus Kitchen off the ground and running. Though that $800 can be sent around any time you start to have the conversations about needing supplies. So, when you're nearing the end of your planning process on the planner is when we can send that second installment of $800. The then third installment of $1,200 will be received when you do your when we do your setup launch visit, and that is this $1,200 is in the form of an in-kind, in-person setup site visit. So one of our national Campus Kitchen staff members will come to your campus for 2 to 3 days to make sure everything is ready to go for your operations, do any trainings, meet with all the various stakeholders, and also be able to work with local media to actually prepare an event for the launch of your Campus Kitchen. So any costs for that special launch event will be covered there, and then any remaining money that's left over after the launch visit setup will be given to you all and lumped into the final installment. So that final installment of $1,500 will be awarded after a successful launch and can be used for anything to sustain your Campus Kitchen moving forward. So Lastly, I just wanted to again remind you all to really keep up the momentum that you've built throughout these last few months of preparing for the competition. It's really important, I think, to set a launch date and stick to that. And that date can be as soon as you want it. And I think many of you might already know when you roughly would like to start your campus kitchen, but something just to note is that the last day, the final date to actually launch your campus kitchen within this grant period is November 30th. So you must launch no later than November 30th, but can be any time before then. And so I'll be working with you all each winter to set that date into work to meet those goals over the next few months so that we can get that going. But I think, it's something really good to remember is that you've already put in a lot of the hard work is in the beginning, getting that initial foundational support in place. And so it's good to kind of use this competition and the excitement that you build from it to kind of keep moving forward throughout the summer and into the fall for the launch. And remember, even if you don't get one of the 3 grants, you can and hopefully still will launch your campus kitchen. In fact, every single school that has ever participated in our competition, whether they received a grant or not, still was able to launch their campus kitchen. And many of them were able to actually receive funding or alternative sources of funding within their school or their community because of all the great hype and the great PR that came from participating in this competition. So we also have other opportunities for funding, and we can work with you guys to continue to make sure that this momentum stays moving forward, and everything we can get you guys into the network as quickly as possible. Remember, you guys have already done a lot of the hard work, and so we really just can't wait for the next week's competition. It's typically really fun and really exciting, and then we're even more excited to kind of continue working with you all to actually start your programs, hopefully in the summer or the fall. So with that, I'm going to open it up for any other questions about, again, back to the logistics of the competition, to anything with social media. Just also note that I've recorded this info session, so I will send out a link for you guys to either pass along to other folks on your team, or if you'd like to review any portion of this, I'll send out a link in the next hour or so, so you'll be able to go back and refresh yourself of any parts that you wanted to hear again. But I'm also more than happy to answer any specific questions that we have right now. And if not, obviously I'm always available via email or phone. I think everyone has my contact information. You will be hearing, like Tyler said, from her in the next day or so with your sample social media posts and images and press releases, so that you can start getting all of your kind of plans set up for the following week's competition. Like she said, again, if you would like to just send a compelling picture for your social media images, you can send that to me at any time, or we'll be using a screenshot from your video. Again, as you're finishing up the pieces of your video, if you have any questions or anything comes up, please just keep me in the loop. Otherwise, we expect to see that either earlier this week and at the latest by noon on Friday. If there's nothing else, I really appreciate you guys taking a little bit of time to go over all this. I hope it was helpful, and we will definitely be in touch this week and next.